Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Miriam's Kitchen virtual volunteer orientation. We're really glad that you're interested in volunteering with Miriam's Kitchen, and we have lots to share with you about Miriam's Kitchen, who we are, what we do, and how you can get involved. I have some of my wonderful colleagues here today who are going to introduce themselves and tell you about what their role is at Miriam's. I'll show you the agenda, and then we'll be on our way. So let's start with Jennifer.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Nunez, and I am the Senior Clinical Case Manager over at the Social Services team. Welcome.
Thanks. Lara?
Hi, I'm Lara Pugat. I'm the Chief Advocacy Officer at Miriam's Kitchen.
Beautiful. Tony?
Hi, everybody. I'm Tony Burns. I am a part of the advocacy team and part of the Speakers Bureau, and I've also been a guest of Miriam's Kitchen.
Beautiful. And Rachel?
Hi, my name is Rachel Glassman, and I'm the Corporate Partnerships Officer here at Miriam's Kitchen in our development office.
Beautiful. Oh, here we go. So I want to share screen. I think I'm good at this Zoom stuff, but some days are better than others. So here we go. We're going to do a welcome and introductions, which we've already done. I'm going to tell you about our history and our programs, and then Tony's going to speak for a bit about his experience with Miriam's Kitchen. Lara's going to share about advocacy. Then I'll jump in and talk about the specific roles that we have here at Miriam's. Jennifer's going to give you some insight into case management and what it's like to volunteer in the dining room. Rachel's going to share about development and our fundraising efforts. And then actually I'm going to share a video we have about how do you get in the building, because getting into Miriam's Kitchen is the hardest part of volunteering. We'll talk about Volunteer Hub and how to create an account, and then we'll wrap things up. All right. So Miriam's Kitchen was started in 1983. It was a partnership of Western Presbyterian Church, the Hillel, GW Hillel group, and the United Church. And these three groups got together because they noticed that there were a lot of their neighbors in need experiencing homelessness. And so they wanted to do something about it. And we started with breakfast. This was a long time ago. It wasn't always the best breakfast, but it was a start. And we were reaching out and connecting with our neighbors. Quickly, we realized that our neighbors needed more than breakfast. And so we started a case management program where we're helping guests to get ID, to get a job, to get the medical help that they need, to get whatever benefits they qualify for, and just to support them and help them to get off the street if we could. We also added Miriam's Studio program, which is a therapeutic art program, because so many of our guests really could make progress towards housing when they could have support through the arts and accessing and learning about how they're doing. And we had art therapists working with our guests. We've had to take a pause on that during the pandemic, but we hope that program will be back soon. So we started with breakfast, and then we realized, you know what, we could do dinner too. And so we started having a dinner program as well. Our meals took a real turn when one of our chefs said, I don't want to buy any more canned goods. I want to do everything fresh and from scratch and make a restaurant quality meal. And so our meals are amazing, and people come from miles around just because they know about the quality of the meal. We really believe that treating our guests with dignity and giving them a meal that is high quality shows how much we care about them and opens the door and is a gateway to more connection with them as they see that they can trust us and we care for them. The meals at Miriam's are actually better than what I prepare for my own kids at home, because we have lots of chicken nuggets and hot dogs, and those things are never served at Miriam's Kitchen. The meals are all high quality and all about choice, letting our guests choose what items it is that they want to eat, and then enjoying that in our dining room. So we were doing breakfast and dinner, case management, the therapeutic art program, and then we started asking our guests, well, what is it that you really want? And they said, housing. We're like, oh, of course. And so we realized that we needed to get into the permanent supportive housing program that other agencies in this DC had been involved in. And so We got our first government contract way back in the day. I can't remember what year, but it was only 95 residents, and we had case managers who were meeting with guests, residents, and supporting them in their housing. The program has grown to now we have, I think, 325 residents in our permanent supportive housing, and a huge team of case managers who are connecting with those folks and supporting them in their housing. We also realized that a lot of people don't know about Miriam's Kitchen, and our wonderful case managers are in the dining room and they can't leave. And so how do we connect people with Miriam's Kitchen? And so we started an outreach team, which has now grown to, we are in charge of 33 square miles in DC of connecting with all of the people experiencing homelessness in those areas, getting them the support and services they need, and maybe connecting them to Miriam's or just helping them in their life and the support that they need. And that program has grown tremendously and it's just having a huge impact. So I talked about permanent supportive housing a little bit. That's a very important program and a distinct kind of thing. So in DC, there are about 4,400 people who are experiencing homelessness. And of that group, about 1,200 are what we call people who are chronically homeless. They have been homeless for many years or multiple instances of homelessness, and they have some sort of mental health or substance abuse or physical health struggle that is really preventing them from moving on into housing. And what we've learned all across the country, other cities and agencies have discovered this idea of housing first. That what we have said to people is that you need to become sober, get a job, save money, and then you can get an apartment and then you can move on with your life. And it's crazy because no one can do all those things while you're living on the streets. But if we give people housing first, then they can take the medicine because they have a medicine cabinet put in. They can get a good night's sleep because they have a bed. They can make appointments because they can hang a calendar on their wall. That life can happen when housing is in place first. And so this is a way that it's just incredibly successful on helping people who have been chronically homeless to get into housing and stay in housing, and the case manager continues to support them. There's a 96% success rate of people who've moved into housing stay in housing, and it is really the answer to how to end chronic homelessness. We are passionate about this, and there are several reasons for that. One of them being that it works and it's accessible. When agencies and the city government all work together and collaborate, coordinate, and help to assess who is in need and get them into the programs that are the best fit for them. We're also passionate about it because the average life expectancy for someone living on the street is 60. And the average age of someone living on the street right now is 50. So do the math. If we don't reach out to our neighbors in need now, we are going to see more and more people who it's a life or death situation for them. So our advocacy team, our case management team, our permanent supportive housing team, our whole agency is now, we are not about a breakfast program. We are about ending chronic homelessness and saving lives and making the world a better place for those who are living on the street right now. So that's kind of who we are in a nutshell. And I'd like to turn it over to Tony to tell a little bit about his experience with Miriam's Kitchen.
Hello, everybody. I want to talk a little bit about some of my experiences at Miriam's Kitchen and what I'd like you to know. I was already housed, and the apartment where I was living suffered mold damage. And I talked to management. Management was sure that they were going to help me and wipe it out. They came up and kind of did a half-patch job on it. So the mold came back even worse. It was actually in my bedroom. And during the interim of having talks with them, I had developed 5 spots on my lungs. I went to the pulmonologist, and that's how we found this out. So I got DC government and the Department of Regulatory Affairs to come in. They assessed the place. They said, you can't sleep in there. They gave the landlord fines. I was getting case management from another local nonprofit here. And it was too no avail. I said, I really need you guys to advocate for me or to help me relocate. I was pretty much self-supportive and responsible for self. This whole idea of vouchers and case management is pretty new to me. I'd never experienced it before, but it was a way for me to get safe and affordable housing according to my income. I thought that'd be a great thing. So that's why I did it. However, this previous nonprofit, I think they were at a loose ends for actually advocating for me and getting me help. I have a background in self-advocacy. I do it for HIV. I do it for cancer, for which I've been managing HIV that I've known for 32 years. I am a cancer survivor. I've been cancer-free since 2017. So advocating for myself and actually helping to lift others up in some small ways, not new to me. But I sort of had it with the firm that was advocating for me. So I said to them, I really don't want you guys to come back here until you can help me solve this issue. And the next thing I knew, they informed me that they had been given a new mandate, and that was to, what was on their top of their priority list was women with children. I said, well, that would count me out. They said, but we turned your case over to this place called Miriam's Kitchen. And I was already a little angry. Then I got really angry. I said, what in the heck is a Miriam's Kitchen? Do I look hungry to you? I've not asked you to feed me. I've not asked for any kind of meals. Now you're telling me about Miriam's Kitchen. So I had it with them. And I hadn't met anybody from Miriam's Kitchen, but I wasn't too happy about meeting nobody from Miriam's Kitchen either. Little did I know how they would add to my life and how they would change the trajectory of my life. So in the midst of doing my advocacy work, I came up here to Watergate Plaza, where I'm this year, I'm the chair of George Washington University Community Advisory Board for a meeting. And my case manager at the time was Isabel. And she said, I'd like to meet with you. I said, well, she said, what about today? I said, well, it can't be today because I'm already out, I'm in meetings. And so she said, well, I could drive to you. Where are you? And I said, Watergate Plaza. She said, Mr. Burns, you've never been to Miriam's Kitchen. I said, no, I've never been. So she said, we're right up the street from you. I said, what? So it had been raining. And so she said, why don't I meet you on the corner of 23rd? And so I used to work up here. I used to go to school up here. So I went to this apartment complex where I was always amazed by because the Department of Interior has a satellite office up here. And I used to come up here every morning. And I would think, I'd see the balcony and say, there are folk living up here by the State Department, Kennedy Center, etc. It must be really cool to live up here. And so it started raining a little heavier. And I got up under the awning. And as people would come and go in and out of the building, they would say, how you doing? Good morning. And I used to do amateur acting in high school. So I went, good morning, how are you? Like I lived here. And I said, just have fun with this because you don't have a chance to live up here. So Isabel came and she met me. I got in the car and she said, Mr. Burns, I want to talk to you. Kirsten, who was her supervisor, who I had met, who had subbed as a case manager for me for a short period of time, that we had this idea of moving one of the guests, our clients, up here. I said, here where? She said, in Columbia Plaza. I hadn't been too long, stopped my chemo and radiation. So I went, Isabel freaked out. She said, Mr. Burns, are you okay? Are you all right? I said, yeah. She said, what's wrong? I said, are you talking about? He said, Mr. Burns, you're a candidate to live up here. I don't even have the words. It's 5 years later almost. I don't even have the words to tell you how that changed my life. It changed the trajectory of my life. Being a part of the LGBTQ community and living in Ward 8, if I looked a certain way, if it was a certain time of day, I had to be concerned that I would be attacked. And growing up over there, I'm originally from Northwest, but I grew up over there. I had to learn how to physically fight and be on my guard at the drop of a dime. And that wears you out over time. Where I got my chemo and radiation is up the street. If I need emergency medical care, it's right up the street. The advocacy that I've done at Miriam's Kitchen is right across the street. I've come in contact with folks who are homeless and who are hungry. I take them right across the street. So I know what it is to volunteer. What I'd like the volunteers to know that sometimes you can't do everything for a person, but your smile. Maybe it's handing them a drink or a meal or some toiletries. Whatever it is that you can do to help inspire those who are able to receive it, to encourage them to do the work that they have to do themselves for getting themselves housed. I want you to know, and then I want to encourage you and hopefully to inspire you to continue that work. As the folk who are volunteer and staff do so at Miriam's Kitchen. I want to thank you for your time. God bless you.
Thanks, Tony. I always love hearing your story. Lara, can you tell us some more about the advocacy program at Miriam's?
Sure. So the advocacy program at Miriam's is really about our mission, right? Which is to end chronic homelessness in DC. So while our amazing social services and housing and outreach teams are working daily to end homelessness for anyone that's walking through our doors or accessing our services, our advocacy team is working to make sure we're ending homelessness for everyone, right, in the city. And we do that in a few ways. One is that we are working to mobilize Washingtonians and people who live, work, worship, hang out in the district to influence their policymakers, to raise their voice, and to really create a strong movement of people who are united in the belief that everybody deserves the dignity of a home. And so the main way we do that is through the Way Home campaign, a coalition that we have built that's supported by over 7,000 individuals and 100 organizations. And we do a lot of things as that coalition and through that movement. But one of the main ones is working to make sure that the city has the resources it needs to end homelessness, to connect anyone that's experiencing homelessness into housing, but also to make sure that we're constantly improving our homeless services system. In addition to our campaign, we do, more of that work I was just alluding to, which is systems change, right? Not everything needs a perfect budget line item or a law to be passed for something to happen. We can continually be partnering with our guests, with people with lived experience, with, folks doing outreach, and permanent supportive housing case managed to constantly do better, connect people to housing faster, and reduce barriers that are keeping folks from experiencing homelessness for a long period of time. So we do a lot of that work behind the scenes, with our local government agencies, with the interagency bodies, to improve things across the board. And then finally, the third bucket of our work is really about our guests, right? Folks who have experienced homelessness in the district know better than anyone what it's going to take to end homelessness and know how the system is working and not working for them. So we have an entire part of our portfolio that is really just about the leadership of our guests and of other folks in the community who have lived experience of homelessness, who are not just informing our work, but who have a seat at the table where decisions are being made to influence their lives. And so we are doing that work in many ways, but just a few of the ways that we do that are through our advocacy fellowship, where a guest can join the advocacy team, and work with us side by side for a year, through our Speakers Bureau program, where folks have the opportunity to share their stories with each other or externally, and to develop their skills and be compensated for the expertise and the time that they lend to storytelling for any purpose. And then we also have some other leadership positions where we are just making sure that folks with this lived experience are at the decision-making table. So we have ways that we're doing that in the Way Home campaign, and also ways that we do that at Miriam's Kitchen. So that's what advocacy is at Miriam's. And to learn more, you can always check out our website, but you can also at Miriam's Kitchen. And we also have a separate website for our campaign, which is thewayhomedc.org. And you can always email me anytime also. I'm just lara@miriamskitchen.org. Thank you.
Thanks, Lara. We really appreciate the update and overview on advocacy. I think there are some agencies that just do advocacy, and there are some agencies that just do program direct services. And Miriam's Kitchen is unique in that we do both. And I believe having the two connected makes both aspects of our program that much stronger and improved. And so we have an awesome advocacy team. Thanks, Lara. All right, well, let me give you a quick overview of what the volunteer roles are at Miriam's Kitchen. So we currently serve breakfast and dinner in our dining room. I say currently because during the pandemic, we had to move our service outside on a courtyard in a big white tent, like if you go to a wedding. But thankfully, since May, we are back in our dining room again. And so we have volunteer roles for volunteers to be in the kitchen to help with serving the meal. We have volunteers who are in the dining room, helping guests who want to take their meal to go, packaging it up for them, and then serving them drinks. And then we have volunteers who help with guest services. So either providing toiletries or clothing or other kinds of support for them. Those things happen during each meal on Monday through Friday. Breakfast is served from 7 until 8. So most volunteer shifts start around 6:30. And then dinner is served from 4 till 5. So most volunteer shifts are starting from 3:30 until about 5:15. We also have some behind the scenes kind of roles. So if you wanted to help with putting together coffee packets, since we go through about 800 of them a day, the cream and sugar to give our guests for their coffee and tea, or to help sort toiletries or bag up clothing for our guests, those shifts happen kind of in the off hours when guests aren't in the building, but that kind of support is key and really helpful in keeping everything going. There are fewer opportunities to volunteer with permanent supportive housing or outreach, though there are some ways that people have done collections of clothing or food or mittens, or Rachel can tell you more about that when she gets to her part about development. And then there, like Lara said, there's room for help with advocacy as well, but those are not things that are scheduled in the way that our regular volunteer shifts are scheduled. So our dining room is full of people. We're low barrier, so anyone is welcome to come in for a meal. And once you arrive in the dining room, Jennifer is going to tell you a little bit about what life in the dining room is like. Take it away, Jennifer.
Hello, everyone, and I'm Jennifer. Thank you, Martha, for that introduction. Yes, so the dining room, we're back in the dining room. New chairs, new tables, new feel to the dining room. So we are excited to welcome our guests. So the dining room, we are able to sit about maybe 120 people, give or take. We have room for that. Maybe 80 people sit down to eat their meal, but many have been taking their meals to go during the breakfast hours or during the dinner hour. Volunteering on the dining room side, right? What that looks like for us on the guest services side, like Martha mentioned, serving our guests with their toiletries. We have an assortment of toiletries where guests could say, hey, I would like one of each. So deodorant, they're basic ADLs that are needed that we all need, right? And then there's the clothing, handing out the guests their clothing bags if they need one of them, or socks, just as something simple as giving a guest a pair of socks can just make a difference. And so on the guest services side, what we look for in our volunteers is to treat people how you would like to be treated, how you would like your mother, your father, your sister, your brother to be treated, with dignity and respect. And of course, we encourage conversation. Sometimes the guests just want to speak to someone and just tell them about their day, or if they had a bad day. And it's okay to listen. It's okay to give encouragement. It's okay to, you know, just be a listening ear for that 5 minutes, 2 minutes that they're there, and that you're making a difference in that time. And so we also would like our volunteers to also be respectful of boundaries as well, right? Just keep in mind where to kind of draw that line, and just be aware. But I say that to say that most of our guests also come with good heart, good intentions, and also don't step those boundaries. And if things arise during the shift at any point, anybody in a blue shirt can help you, is ready to jump in and just kind of walk you through any scenario that may be happening. We also have security on the team. So if anything were to escalate, or you're feeling uncomfortable at any point, please feel free to pull myself or anybody on the team to the side and let us know what is happening. But in the dining room, the atmosphere, what we present is a welcoming atmosphere, caring, nurturing, and just dignity and respect. That is part of our mission. That is what we are here for. And we just want to treat our guests with the utmost respect, and just how you would want to be treated. If there's anything else any questions or concerns that arise during the shift, feel free to ask anyone. So thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. Super, super helpful. All right, now I'm going to turn it over to Rachel, who's going to tell you about development.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Glassman, and like I said earlier, I'm the Corporate Partnerships Officer here at Miriam's Kitchen. So my role is to collaborate with organizations and individuals to form partnerships to further our mission. So as you've heard, there's lots of ways to get involved. Here at Miriam's Kitchen, you can volunteer in our kitchen or dining room. You can help our advocacy team by following the Way Home campaign and amplifying our messages on social media. And just, recognizing my role as a nonprofit, we do rely in large part on private support to continue to feed our mission. So as part of the fundraising and development team, it's important to note that there are lots of ways to get involved on that front as well. So some individuals do something as simple as donating their birthday money. Some set up a Facebook fundraiser or raise awareness and funds through our Fall More Than a Meal campaign. You can also join our MK Club of monthly donors, make a gift of stock, or like Martha mentioned at the onset, setting up a drive for needed supplies, things like socks, transit cards, pants, underwear, socks, all the things that you use on a regular basis, our guests do too. So being able to support them in that way is a great way to give back. There are so many avenues to give, and I would encourage you to look on our website under the Give tab to learn more, or reach out for more information. Every amount that you give supports our high quality programs and ensures that we are able to support our guests and make sure that everyone in DC has a safe and dignified place to call home.
Thanks, Rachel. Really appreciate it. All right. So getting into Miriam's is often the hardest part of your volunteer job. So we have created a video to show you how to get in. And I'm hoping that...
Hi, welcome to Miriam's Kitchen. Miriam's Kitchen is located at the corner of 24th and G in the basement of Western Presbyterian Church. When you first arrive, please proceed to the pillar located by the garage. Hit the button for Miriam's Kitchen and let the staff know that you're here to volunteer. They will open the garage for you. If on foot, you can press the button on the left-hand side of the garage to close the door. If driving, please pull forward so you are not blocking the sensors and it will close automatically. Please wait for the door to close before proceeding down the ramp. Continue down the ramp and feel free to park in any spot that is not reserved for church or other parking. At the bottom of the ramp, you'll see our sign above a storage area, which contains supplies for each meal shift and for our different teams. Past the Muriel, you'll see the door to our volunteer station. Here, you'll sign in on the tablet with the login you created to sign up for your shift. Enter your name and check in. You'll then create a name tag and grab an apron before going to your station. If you forgot a hat, please take a hairnet in the volunteer station. If you are volunteering in the kitchen, please proceed up the stairs, wash your hands, and check in with one of the chefs who will direct you as to what to do. If you are in the dining room or guest services, go back the way you came, across the garage, up the ramp, and through the door. You'll wash your hands in the bathrooms, then check in at your station in the dining room. At the guest services station, you'll hand out toiletries and clothing. Guests can also receive their mail and case management support in the station next over, staffed by Miriam's Kitchen management staff. At the food and beverage station, you'll hand out condiments for the meal, coffee, water, and juice. Cleanup will happen at the end of each shift. Ask the volunteer sous chef how you can help. You'll need keys to exit through the garage, and once you do, go up the ramp. You can exit just the way you came in. Again, please wait for the door to close before heading out. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks again for coming to volunteer with Miriam's Kitchen.
All right. Stop share. I can do this. All right. Thank you, Rachel, for the awesome video. Hopefully you all can find your way into the building, and there'll be lots of people to help you once you get there. So you notice that she showed you how to sign in on a tablet, because we don't keep an Excel spreadsheet on who's coming in to volunteer every day, because we have way too many volunteers to do that. So we use a program called Volunteer Hub. It's awesome. You'll create an account, which takes about 5 minutes, and then you'll be able to register for whatever shifts are a good fit for you. It's a rolling calendar that shows 30 days at a time. We used to show 60 days, and then people would sign up for a shift, 2 months out and forget about it. So now we found that 30 days is kind of the right amount. So there'll be 30 days on the calendar from today until 30 days out. And then tomorrow, another day will get added at the end of the calendar. So if things are full, you just have to wait for a new day to get live on the calendar. So you just register for your shift. You'll get a reminder email when it's a couple days out, and then you'll get a thank you email when your shift is completed. You'll then come enter the garage the way we showed you, and then come on in and do your shift. It's very important that you only come for a shift that you've registered for. We have just the right number of spots saved for people, so having extra folks is actually not helpful. So we only want people who've registered for a shift to come, and we need you to come when you say you're going to come. Now, we understand that emergencies happen, and you suddenly get sick, and if you're sick, we really want you to stay home with your germs, or your boss calls and you've got to come in for a special program that morning. We get it. This happens to all of us. If it's 12 hours or more until the shift, you can just go back into Volunteer Hub and cancel it out. If it's less than 12 hours, you won't be able to cancel it, but I do ask that you send me an email to martha@miriamskitchen.org and just say, hey, Martha, I'm sick today, I can't come in, or whatever it is. And it doesn't really matter what the reason is. It's just really important that we know that you're not going to be able to make it that day. What is a very big problem for us is a no-show, that you don't show up and you don't tell me you're not coming, because then we're really stuck and we're short-staffed. And if this happens multiple times, then you're someone that we can't rely on, and we really need volunteers who are dependable. So as long as you're emailing me and letting me know you can't make it, things are fine. But After 2 no-shows, I'm going to have to cancel out all your shifts in Volunteer Hub because we really need to have folks that we can depend on. So you register for your shifts. You come when you say you're going to. The dress code at Miriam's, and there'll be a reminder of this in the email, is closed-toe shoes, so no flip-flops or sandals, long pants or 3/4 length pants, no shorts or skirts, a t-shirt that comes, on your arm, not a tank top or spaghetti straps, and no yoga pants. And then you're going to be wearing either a baseball hat or a hairnet. And like Rachel said in the video, if you forget, we have hairnets, and we also have the hats of shame, the crazy hats that are left over and that you can borrow one of those to wear. And it's very important that you stay for the whole shift. If you can't come on time and stay the whole shift, it's better to come on a day when you can, because cleaning happens right up until the end. Service is happening during the entire shift, and having someone skip out early just means that you're leaving more work for other volunteers. So it's super easy. You get to register and schedule the shifts that work for you. If you have any problems with Volunteer Hub, feel free to email me and I can help you to sort it out. And then when you arrive, you'll be able to sign in on the tablet and get going. I think that's kind of the basics of everything we need to cover today. Once you've watched this video, please send me an email to say, hey, Martha, I watched the video. Send me a copy of your vaccination card, and then I can send you instructions on how to set up your account in Volunteer Hub. Let me just do a quick check-in to see if anybody on my team has thought of anything that we've forgotten. Anybody think of anything? We're good? All right, so thank you for wanting to be a volunteer at Miriam's Kitchen, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks.